Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the El Cajon City Council meeting. The meeting is called to order, and I'd like to ask the city clerk to please call the roll.
Councilmember Calacio is absent. All others are present.
Would you please stand then for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a brief moment of silence? And I'm going to ask my friend Terry Sanat, the chairman of SANDAG, to lead us in the pledge, please. Thank you. The city clerk posted orders of adjournment of the July 24th, 2018 meeting and the agenda of the August 14th, 2018 meeting in accordance with state law and council authority successor agency to the redevelopment agency policy. We have a presentation today from SANDAG, and again, my friend Terry Sanat, who is the chairman of the board, will share with us what's happening in SANDAG. Thanks, Terry.
Well, good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. It's very nice of you to invite us, and we are here to give you a quick update on SANDAG's efforts in the region, and also specifically some of the work that we're doing in your cities. So we wanted to provide an opportunity for you to ask questions and see what all the activities are going. I want to also compliment your mayor, who is doing an awful lot for us on SANDAG, and Councilman Goebel, who is also involved in public safety, and without this kind of involvement, we couldn't be successful. So thank you very much for all of your work. I'm joined today by Kim Kawada, who is our Deputy Executive Director, and she has been helping us get through this year, and she's very important to us. And where did I lost Robin? There's Robin Wapner, who is our expert on California politics, so she's also helping. So let me quickly tell you that we want to cover basically two things. I'll turn this on. Okay, folks.
Do we have some technical? There we are.
Okay, good. I wanted to get into quickly a regional perspective of what we've been doing regionally, and then focus down on El Cajon specifically for 2017, what we've accomplished, then go into 2018 focus. What are we doing in 2018? We do have some specific handouts that we'll give to you. We could do that now, and you'll wrestle your pages as I go through the video. One of the handouts that I think is of a great deal of interest to me, and I think would be to you, is there's a diagram that we have put together that shows how people from El Cajon commute. And one of the issues that we face in San Diego is we have an entire network of transportation. All cities are linked together. And this particular diagram shows how people leave El Cajon going to and from their work, through to education or to whatever they're going to. You can see the thickness of the line show it's kind of like tentacles moving out of El Cajon and back. So we're all related, we're all interconnected, and that's why we think that transportation is definitely an effort to improve our networks. Okay, let me see if we can start the video. There we go.
With the construction of highways, transit systems, railways, and bike and pedestrian networks, 2017 was a literal building year for the Sandag Board and its partner agencies. Revenue from our region's Transnet half-cent sales tax, leveraged with outside matching funds, continue to power dozens of projects throughout the region, as well as widespread environmental preservation efforts. These investments have taken place throughout the region, from Oceanside to South County, to the urban core to suburban East County, providing travelers with more and more choices. The Mid-Coast Trolley is the biggest transportation project ever undertaken in San Diego County. It will extend the Blue Line trolley 11 miles from Old Town north along the I-5 to UC San Diego and into University City. When the line and its 9 new stations open in 2021, it is expected to attract 21,000 new transit riders a day. Being built in conjunction with the Mid-Coast Trolley, when completed, the newly constructed Gilman Bridge will gracefully span I-5 just north of the La Jolla Village Drive interchange. The project, which broke ground in 2017, will provide a much-needed connection between Gilman Drive on UC San Diego's West Campus and Medical Center Drive on the East Campus. Build NCC is an all-encompassing project that includes highway, rail, environmental, and coastal access improvements for cities of Encinitas and Solana Beach and the North Coast Corridor. Work also broke ground this year on a comprehensive $102 million effort to restore the lagoon itself. The replacement of the rail bridges over the lagoon are happening simultaneously in order to minimize impacts on the sensitive environment in that area.
We get to work integratively with the rail and the freeway work, and that integration is through our partnerships with Caltrans and Sandag. It's not often that an environmental organization gets to really sit at the table with the people planning and designing and actually implementing transportation. And we were able to give recommendations on what we think needed to change in the corridor to allow the system to be more natural. And they took that advice and they're implementing it.
Many other important additions to the transportation system have made major progress during 2017. Progress continued on the South Bay Rapid Project. From the Otay Mesa border, passengers will be able to travel through Otay Ranch on a dedicated guideway into eastern Chula Vista. The Rapid buses will be able to use a new direct access ramp recently added to Interstate 805 and connect to downtown San Diego. This dedicated guideway through eastern Chula Vista will be the first of its kind in the region, allowing the Rapid service to avoid traffic snarls on busy arterial streets.
We're at the Heritage Station that's part of the South Bay Rapid route, and from here you have easy access to downtown and the border. This particular station is located adjacent to restaurants, doctor's offices, and pretty much anything you would need, and it's sited at the heart of the community.
The 2 new Centerline transit stations at University Avenue and El Cajon Boulevard will allow rapid service along Interstate 15 to quickly stop, pick up passengers, and continue back onto the active freeway lanes, avoiding the freeway ramps and the hassles of surface street traffic.
These are the first freeway-level transit station platforms in San Diego County.
These stations opened in the first quarter of 2018. Work continued at multiple locations along the Coastal Rail Corridor, known as LOSAN. In partnership with the North County Transit District, the Oceanside Transit Center was expanded to increase the number of trains that can board passengers simultaneously and to allow freight trains to pass through. The $28.1 million upgrade made the station more efficient by adding a 3rd track and an additional platform for the roughly 1.2 million passengers that use the station every year. Work also continued on the Elvira to Morena double-track project. This segment will add a 2.6-mile second track from State Route 52 to just south of Balboa Avenue. When linked to double-tracked segments on either end of the project, the result will be a continuous 10.3-mile stretch of double track to improve passenger and freight operations in the corridor. The Sandag Active Transportation Program also achieved some important new milestones in 2017, including the opening of the State Route 15 commuter bikeway. The approximately 1-mile bikeway links the mid-city communities of Kensington, Talmadge, Normal Heights, and City Heights with the Mission Valley community, running along I-15 but safely separated from vehicle traffic. A 1-mile segment of the Inland Rail Trail in the city of San Marcos was completed in February of 2017. This segment is part of a 21-mile bikeway that will connect from Oceanside to Escondido. Progress continued on the Bayshore Bikeway, which will eventually extend 24 miles all the way around San Diego Bay. Relief is on the way for one of the urban core's most frustrating bottlenecks. Work advanced dramatically on the Genesee Avenue interchange over the last year, with a new widened 10-lane bridge and more efficient on- and off-ramps expected to open in 2018. The effort to create a third border crossing in the region in East Otay Mesa also received a big boost. The state of California awarded the State Route 11 project $45 million to help pay for the acquisition of property where the new border crossing will eventually sit. We wished the South Bay Expressway a happy 10th birthday in 2017. Sandag acquired the rights to operate the tollway about 6 years ago. The Sandag board immediately cut the tolls on the facility to relieve congestion in eastern Chula Vista and draw traffic away from the I-805. The Sandag iCommute program worked hard to achieve its mission of reducing traffic congestion and greenhouse gas emissions by promoting alternative means of transportation. Successes during 2017 included the region's busiest ever Bike to Work Day, with more than 10,000 bike commuters visiting one of more than 100 pit stops throughout the region. iCommute partnered with Uber to expand the iCommute Guaranteed Ride Home program, offering free rides to alternative commuters facing an urgent need to get home. iCommute also partnered with Waze Carpool, who is subsidizing up to $50,000 for carpooling to the highest employment areas in the region. In early January 2017, the U.S. Department of Transportation selected the San Diego region as one of the 10 designated proving grounds in the nation to encourage testing and sharing information around autonomous connected vehicle technologies. Sandag, the City of Chula Vista, and Caltrans District 11 teamed up to seek the proving ground designation.
The proving ground gives our policymakers and the public an opportunity to engage in how this technology is ultimately shaped as it comes into the marketplace.
It's been an amazing year. Stay tuned. There's more to come in 2018.
All right, well, thank you. The video, I think, highlights the regional big projects that Sandag has been working on in 2017. And when your folks go off to work at Sandag and attend these meetings, it is to prioritize these projects for the entire region. And there's an awful lot going on. Let me go forward. So these are the projects that we that highlighted in the video in 2017. But I'd like to provide more. Let's see if we can go. This is. Okay. I wanted to focus on El Cajon's accomplishments. And over the past fiscal year, we were able to contribute $2 million to your streets and roads allocation, over $18 million over the last several years. We completed the East County Bus Operations and Maintenance Facility. That has been significant. We're operating successfully the rapid service on I-15, and we've been working with you on your climate action efforts and your climate action planning. In 2018, there are several things that we're going to focus on. Right now, we're right in the middle of an executive director recruitment. We have been doing an awful lot of public outreach to find out what our communities want for the executive director at Sandag, and we're just about at the end of that research and recruitment process. In fact, this Friday the board meets and we'll be reviewing 2 candidates for a possible appointment to the Sandag executive director position. So that's a critical issue. In 2017, one of the things that happened in our Sandag efforts was we got an awful lot of input from independent folks, from the legislature, from taxpayers associations saying, hey, we encourage you to make some improvements in the way you forecast, the way you do some of your outreach to the communities. And so the board has put together a series of 8 initiatives called the Plan of Action, or Plan of Excellence. And it really is focused internally on making sure our forecasting, our data governance, our records management, all the kind of internal issues are improved, and we make continuous improvement on those efforts. Of particular note is the fact that we've hired and set up a audit committee, which is hiring an independent performance auditor to kind of look over our shoulders and make sure we're doing the right things in the best practice way. And we're trying, as the reason I'm here today, to improve our communications with our agencies and with our cities. So those are internally what we're planning to do. Large capital projects are listed. I just highlight those 2 blue areas. Sandag every 4 years updates its regional transportation plan. We call it the San Diego Forward Plan, and that's where all 18 cities in the county get together and they figure out, given the fact that we're going to increase our population by 1 million people by 2050, how in the world do we set up our transportation options so that we can accommodate those folks? So that plan is ongoing now, and we welcome the kind of interchange of information with El Cajon so that we can make sure that the priorities we're setting are what this community wants. So that discussions are happening now. Also, we will be going through the Regional Housing Needs Assessment, or RHNA. This is where we take the state of California's housing projections, and we, as a regional planning group, try to allocate goals for all of our cities to build additional housing. I know housing is a big topic in our region, and we do our best to try to equitably allocate those goals. And as far as outreach and communications, we really want to try new things and hear from our communities. So we welcome your suggestions and your thoughts as to how we and our staff can work together on the regional plan, on RHNA, or whatever the issues are, so that we get a give and take so you feel that your thoughts are being incorporated into our plans. So that's our opportunity for El Cajon to be involved. We hope you can be, and we welcome it. We have handouts. Subscribe to the newsletter. You can go online. You have all the various things here. So I thank you for your time, and we welcome your involvement. Thank you very much.
Terry, thanks very much. Excellent presentation. I just want to see if the council has any questions from you. They don't get a chance to go hear you once a week like I do, so
okay.
They may want to ask you some questions. Bob?
Yes, thanks for coming today. And I'm on the MTS board, but what I've seen is that the passenger numbers are dropping. And mass transit does not work well in San Diego County as well as it does in New York or Chicago or some of these other cities that have, a small core. We continue to spend more and more money on mass transit. People are not getting out of their automobiles. They're still continuing to get clogged, and they're willing to forego the hassles of sitting in their cars for hours at a time waiting for traffic to move versus riding public transportation. How come Sandag continues to spend the most of its money on public transit when most people want to drive their cars? only about 5% of the people ride mass transit. And a lot of them, I understand, are seniors and people that can't afford to own a car, and we need it for that. But as far as better highways and things like that for people to move around a little more freely, that's where we should be spending our money, because about 95% of the people are in their cars. They pay the taxes. It's not the people that ride mass transit that pay the taxes. So I'm really upset with government, the way they allocate their funds, mainly for mass transit, not for more easily to get around on freeways and things of that nature.
Well, thank you for your comments. I agree. You're absolutely correct. The ridership throughout the country in transit has gone down. A lot of folks attribute that just to the fact the economy has improved and people have now could afford to commute more than they used to be able to. As far as what Sandag spends its money on, it is a real challenging problem, because our mission is to balance the priorities of the entire region. There are groups of folks who are very much highway dependent, which you're absolutely right. So we need to improve their options and their efficiencies in commuting. There are folks, though, that say, hey, we better plan. We can't just have highways for all our commuters. We're going to have some other options, and that's why we're building such things as the coastal trolley up to UTC. One of the things I think we've learned is that if we've got to be able to build transportation to employment centers. And this new line that we're building up from Old Town up to UTC and the hospitals and the university is a real opportunity for us to build transportation to employment centers. And we anticipate that's going to be a very, very successful transit line, because of bringing everybody up from the South Bay to where the new center of business is at the UTC in the Golden Triangle. So we think it will be much more successful, and that will be the philosophy to watch. The challenge, of course, is building in anticipation of what the population is going to do. And so we're trying to maintain a balance between the various modes.
And that's going to cost over $1 billion to do that.
It is costly.
And how many riders a day are going to ride it? You said 10,000?
Well, we're hope to have a large group of folks on a daily basis that'll do that.
Well, I'd suggest that more than 10,000 people ride our freeways every year, and we need more and better ways of getting around that way. And that's the trouble with government. They're in love with this mass transit and public transportation, which we need, especially for seniors or people that can't own their own cars. But now with Uber and Lyft, people are getting out of the mass transit, and they say, I can go up there with a Uber or a Lyft a lot faster than I can go on mass transit, so I'm going to, you get somebody within about 3 minutes of your house or 5 minutes, and they'll take you where you want to go. Yeah. It's a lot easier. In fact, MTS is now starting a program pretty soon where they're going to use taxi cabs for some of the access people that don't need wheelchair access, but they still need something to take them to where they need to go. They're going to use and pay taxis to do that for them, because the access is so expensive to take somebody in a wheelchair adaptable van that doesn't really need a wheelchair to get them to a doctor appointment or go shopping or wherever they're going to go, or go to the mall. So I think we need to rethink our public transportation now that we have more competition with, say, Uber and Lyft and things like that.
Your observations are very good, and the technology is also changing, so that makes it even doubly hard to anticipate what's going on.
And with self-driving cars, we probably won't have as many accidents in the next 30 years with self-driving cars, because your cars will be a lot closer together and they won't be having accidents because they're communicating with one another. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? please, if there are things come up later on, let us know. Give us a call. I'm happy to try to field something, or I pass it off to Kim really quickly.
Well, Terry and staff, thank you very much for taking the time to come out and tell us about what's happening at Sandag. Thanks.
Thanks for coming out and listening.
And Terry, I don't feel like you have to stay for the whole meeting. I know that you've got lots to do. So, okay, agenda changes. Staff, do you have any agenda changes?
Mr. Mayor, we do not have any agenda changes, but I would like to take this opportunity to introduce the city's newest employee, our assistant city manager that started this week, Vince DiMaggio, right here. Vince comes to us having been the city manager in 3 other cities, most recently Mendota, California, up in Fresno County. And one of the things that we like about Vince, we like a lot of things about Vince, but one of the things is that he has some private developer experience. And so I think that will be a good opportunity, especially in a community like ours where redevelopment and economic development is so important. So we're glad to have him here.
Thanks. Welcome, Vince. Would you like to say a few words? Or
It's my pleasure to be here, and I just look forward to the opportunity to participate in Graham's leadership team and all the exciting things that are happening in El Cajon.
Thanks, Vince. Appreciate that. Okay, council members, any changes to the agenda? All right. That brings us then to consent items. Consent items are routine matters enacted by one motion according to the recommendation listed below. With the concurrence of the City Council, a council member or a person in attendance may request discussion of a consent item at this time. Council members, would you like to pull any of the consent items? How about staff? Angela, do we have any speaker cards for consent items?
We have no speaker cards, sir.
Then I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent items. It's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
That brings us to public comment. At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the City Council, Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency that is not on the agenda. Comments relating to items on today's agenda are to be taken at the time that the item is heard. State law prohibits discussion or action on items not on the agenda. However, Council, authority, and agency members may briefly respond to statements or questions, and an item may be placed on a future agenda. Angela, do we have any cards under public comment?
We have 15 speakers, and the first speaker is Jim Kelly.
Mr. Kelly, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council.
By the way, Mr. Kelly, you're not just a member of the public, but you're on the Grossmont Union's high school board.
Right. I've represented East County for 26 years now, 10 years on the San Diego County Board of Education, now 16 years on the Grossmont School Board, and I just got elected to another 4-year term because there's no one pulled papers run against me.
Oh, you lucky dog.
That'll give me 30 years as public service. And I'm not speaking on behalf of the kids of East County or the Grossmont School District. I'm speaking on behalf of myself. But I'm speaking because I do represent the children and the taxpayers and the voters of East County. I have not said anything to this point publicly, but I'm here to address the problem with Ben Cajon. I have been reading things. I have been talking to many members of the community because I'm a resident of El Cajon, and I have a saying that people are consistent. And unfortunately, Ben Cajon is 100% consistent, but for all the wrong reasons. This team here that's here today, I didn't know he wouldn't be here. I was going to speak to him in kind of a ministerial type fashion to appeal to him, but he's not here. But this is a great team, and this is a great city, and you men have selflessly worked together as a team to make this city better, and I greatly appreciate it. But for the sake of the children, the taxpayers, the families, the community's image and reputation, and for the city's employees, Ben Cajon needs to resign. It is important for every elected official to subjugate everything to the interests and benefits of their community that they represent. It is important not to place individual interests above the above the public interest. If a person cannot do that, they need to resign. It is important for every elected official, for the good of the community, not to create scandal or engage in any activity that brings reproach upon that community. It is our responsibility to only bring positive contribution and benefit to El Cajon and to East County, or to resign if they can't or will not do this. So again, I want to commend you. You men, I know it's probably been hard. You can't say things that you're thinking, but his boorish behavior, his immaturity, his total selfishness and narcissism, and I call him a sociopath, because this is a person who does not even care about anyone other than himself. He doesn't care about those that he hurts, even children, even minors, even young ladies. And that is despicable, and he does not deserve this office. And the fact that he hasn't already resigned in light of the many scandals he's been involved in just shows you that he is truly a sociopath. And I'm sorry for this community, and I'm sorry that you men have to work with him. But I wish for better, and I believe in the next election where he is on the ballot that the voters will speak loud and clearly and have to put this problem to an end. Thank you.
Wendy Morris.
Hi, Ms. Morris. Welcome. Let me pull that down so we can hear you. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you for having me today. I'm Wendy Morris. I'm the administrator of Sophie's Art Gallery, the off-campus art program of St. Madeline Sophie Center. And I'm here to talk about our event, the Alley Cat Art Walk. This is the 8th year that we've had this event. And there's 8 galleries, a museum, and small businesses as well who are putting on the event for the community. It's the only art event in downtown El Cajon. It's Friday, September the 14th from 5 to 8 p.m. And we hope to close down the alley between Main Street and Rhea and have all our back doors open so people can freely walk to and from all the different participating businesses. There'll be fine art exhibits, children's booths, crafts booths, different vendors, and it's a great event, and we're really looking forward to having it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You guys do great work at Sophie.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Mimi.
Hello, welcome. We'll pull that down.
Oh, sure. There we go. Is this better?
I can hear you.
Good afternoon, Council. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak in front of you today about El Cajon's Canine Jester. For those who may not be aware, veteran and officer Jordan Walker...
Can you speak right into the microphone?
Sure.
There, that's better. Okay. Thank you.
Resigned from El Cajon Police Departments. Officer Walker respectfully requested in writing the opportunity to purchase his partner and friend Canine Jester at more than a fair price and was willing to donate the necessary funds to purchase a new police service dog for the El Cajon Police Department. I am asking that City Manager Graham Mitchell request his written document he submitted to the El Cajon Police Department and to please reconsider. Jester's supporters have signed a petition that, as of August 12th, has been signed by 60,534 people in support of retiring Canine Jester to Officer Walker. In addition, his supporters are currently raising $25,000 for the El Cajon Police Department to use towards purchasing a new dog who would be able to bond easier with his new handler and provide the city with additional years of service. We understand Jester is 2 weeks away from turning 6 years old and is a couple of years short of the average retirement age. We ask that you evaluate his case in particular based on what is best for his well-being rather than blanketing standard protocol to conform him to continue working. His immaculate record with Al Cajon Police Department was side by side with Officer Walker and through his guidance. Because of this, Canine Jester may not reflect the same results with the new handler he has not imprinted on. Right now, the city of Al Cajon is under the spotlight worldwide. We ask that you please see Canine Jester as not just a tool, but an animal with feelings and emotions just like everybody in this room. He does not understand protocol. Locking him up in a boarding facility until he trusts an unknown handler is not the right way to thank him for his years of service and recognition he has brought to the city of El Cajon.
All right, well, thank you for coming.
Manuel Villanueva.
Hello, sir. Welcome.
Hi. Good afternoon. A little bit higher. Okay, my name is Manuel Villanueva. I'm Chester's canine trainer. I've been working with dogs for 35 years, actually for 40 years, 35 years in San Diego County. I've trained hundreds of police dogs. And I'm here to tell you, there's a misunderstanding of what a police dog is, a working dog. And a working dog is a dog that has tremendous drives. He loves to work. His purpose in life is to work. Okay, in most cases, people confuse, he looks like a pet, he smells like a pet, he acts like a pet, therefore he's a pet like the one we have at home. But we must understand that we do not create police dogs, they're born to be a police dog. The genetic makeup is like that. It's the most common practice to transfer the dog from handler to handler. I've trained hundreds of dogs, like I said, and 98% of the dogs are transferred from one handler to the other. And they're perfectly fine because they're loyal to their work. They work with the handler. They do well out on the street with this handler. But once they're transferred to another officer, they actually improve and do tremendously well. So there's no emotional or any type of deficiency of love or attention to that dog. The dog is perfectly fine. The idea is, in many cases, is that we transfer the dog, he's going to suffer. But the dog, like I said, they're born to work. It's a disservice to take, in this case, Chester to a backyard. Retire him. He's a young dog. We've had dogs that work up to about 10 and a half, and they do well, and they retire as a great, successful police canine. I had a dog similar to him, and I had to give him up because I believe that, his job is to work, is not to be in my backyard. He went through 4 officers, and he retired about 10 and a half. He did great out on the street and happy as can be. Okay, one thing with any dog, with any police dog, the reason why they're able to transfer from one handler to the other is because they do have a strong pack instinct. And that pack instinct helps them adjust quickly. All they need is an alpha dog, an alpha officer in this case, that guides them and performs and becomes a team. Okay, that's what he's looking for. That's what the dogs are here for. They have that strong pack instinct. In many cases, you find the dogs that have 2 or 3 officers go to the 3rd officer, and when the other 2 officers come up to the vehicle, they actually guard their car against those previous handlers because they're loyal to their work and they're loyal to the new handler. Like I said, I've been training dogs for 40 years, police dogs for 40 years, and this is what I have seen. It's easy for the dog. The dog loves and he enjoys his work tremendously. So I'm asking to really think about the dog. I know Jordan, that's the handler, but I'm thinking about the canine, and Jester has the opportunity to keep working for several years, maybe it's about 10 and a half. He's a great dog out on the street, and I think we owe him that, to be working out on the street, not to be in a backyard. He's too young to be retired. So justice for Jester, I think. Let's help him out. Thank you. Any questions?
Thanks for coming. Are there any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming.
Sunshine Horton.
Hi, Sunshine.
Hello.
Welcome.
Good afternoon to everybody. I wanted to talk to him, but I think he's either in court or he's coward. I don't know. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. I wanted to say to him, the best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. But I feel sorry for Colascio because he doesn't have a heart and a skull and heart like a rock. Then the other thing that I paid attention is of the campaign. He has different subjects and all that, but one caught my eye. The beautiful city of El Cajon, that he thinks is all trashy and that the residents should move to Santee. I wonder if he lives in Santee and pays here everything so he can be here. I wouldn't doubt it that he's doing that. Yeah, I just said that. And I'm trying to say the problem of trash could be solved easily with community and city officials. We all get together and fix it. But the issue of his heart, the soul, the spirit, they are full of ugly trash and bad emotions. And for him, the only way that he can fix that is by bringing God into his life, because he doesn't have no knowledge of nothing other than the evil things, because he loves to do that. He has a big high on it. He loves to make people, I don't know what's wrong with him, and to be honest, I wouldn't want him up there no more, because he's intelligent, but his character is like a child that is stubborn and wants his way no matter what. And I don't think that's right. Now, he's one of the people that when he leaves the room, he brightens it. Now, I have time for my birthday. Tomorrow, I'll be, by God, 40. I read that. I'll be 73 years old. And my birthday has been a miracle maker for Children's Hospital since I was 50. But they're gonna help me. We're gonna celebrate my birthday on the Concerts of the Green. The middle, we're going to have, the tickets and the prices. Well, all the proceeds of that, they're going to donate to my Miracle Maker to go to the hospital for cancer. So I've been getting and buying all kinds of things. So I wish all of you can go and throw a penny in the bucket or something, because it's a good cause and it's for kids. And for him, I'll be coming over. So he better get brave, because I'll be here every meeting talking to him. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Jerry Kovakovic.
Happy birthday.
I'm sorry, what was your name again? Okay. Welcome.
Photos that I have taken since the 4th or the 3rd of July.
Okay.
I live in the Safari Mobile Lodge. I am one of the younger members there. We're housing for older persons. Mr. McClellan, most of my neighbors do not drive anymore, and they have to walk through the gauntlet of the homeless encampment that is semi-permanently attached. I don't know how to deal with this. I've gotten to know all of the police dispatchers by voice. Some of them, I think if I ran into them on the street and heard their voice, I would know them immediately just from talking to them so often. I don't know how to solve this. The one gentleman who sets up his little shelter every night there, I am 99% sure he is dealing drugs. I'm a child of the 70s. I know if you do this and this, you're not doing anything legal. The police don't have the time or the resources to camp out in front of my house. I've had them climb over my fence and use, because I live in the corner of the park, I've had them climb over the fence and use my corner as a bathroom, which I didn't know until my maintenance people found it and fortunately cleaned it up for me. It was rather nasty out there. We can't walk down the Safari Drive to Main Street without foul language. The one man has right now 3 dogs that are never on a leash. They rush people, they bark at people. My neighbors who are in the wheeled scooters can't use the sidewalk because their things are set up on the sidewalks. When they're not on the sidewalks, they're sleeping on the grass, which makes me not want to come into El Cajon and do business. The one picture was taken on 2nd Street in front of a strip mall there near the McDonald's. I didn't get there early enough that day, but they set up an honest-to-God 6-foot tent in front of this man's store. I don't know how people do business here anymore. and I'm really sad that it's not the beautiful, clean city that I moved into six years ago. And if we can make it a priority, I would be happy to serve on any committee. I would be happy to make it as an agenda meeting. So I appreciate you listening.
Let me see if there's any questions that
Okay.
I want to comment. Any questions? Go ahead, Gary.
Just to comment, these pictures are appalling, and I'd like to see our public works and police go out there and remove all of that.
I just want to tell you and anybody else who's listening that the fact that homelessness is a big issue is not surprising to us. We talk about it every day. And I can pretty much tell you that every mayor in every city in the area, and certainly every mayor in every city in California and most of the country, is talking about this. This is a national crisis. We've never seen anything like this. The rise in homelessness in El Cajon in the last year has been 35%. But in places like Carlsbad and Leucadia, we've seen 100 to 150% increase in homelessness. It is a massive epidemic, and cities are doing everything they can to try to eradicate the problem, but you should be aware that there's pushback from the other side. The California State Legislature says you can't arrest people. You can't take their things from their carts. They're allowed to steal a certain amount of money and food or items from stores without being arrested. And so the legislature is pushing back against the city, saying, no, you can't discriminate against people because they choose to be homeless. And, of course, the residents are rightly saying, wait a second, protect us. Do something to save our city. And it's a dance, and I don't think anybody's figured out exactly how we're going to come out the other side of this. But I can tell you that good organizations and good people are working on it. And I think in talking to people, I talk about people about this every day. Something that comes across to me that troubles me is kind of a sense that the city just doesn't pay any attention and we don't care, and that the problem could go away if we put some effort into it. I promise you, if there were a button on my desk that I could push and make homeless go away, I would push it every day. So be patient with us. We're working hard on it. I think I can rightfully speak for the rest of my council member colleagues that this is something that occupies a great deal of our mind. We think about it every day. We talk to our wives about it and our friends and people on the street. We take advice from everybody we can. And it's a big problem, but Americans are used to tackling big problems. And I think eventually we'll come out the other side of this. But thank you for being brave enough to come and bring it to our attention and talk about it. I think if we don't talk about it, we'll never begin to solve it. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Bob.
Yes, I agree with you. And unfortunately, California is a magnet for homelessness and welfare because our legislature has been so lenient on not doing the right things to bring California back to its greatness. And remember that later on this year when you vote, because our legislature has created the biggest welfare state in the nation. We have 12% of the people in California, and we have 30% of the homeless. So we're a magnet for that. And I wouldn't go to San Francisco again because there's so much up there. You think El Cajon's bad. That's a real magnet for homeless up there. And I won't even go there anymore. So it's really a shame what's happened to our state because our legislature is so liberal on doing the welfare thing for people that they think can't do it for themselves. We need to have welfare to work in order to get benefits. You need to work if you're capable of working. So we need to make a lot of changes in our state in order to change the situations that we have. So thank you for coming and speaking today. I appreciate you. I totally agree with you. It's a menace to our society. El Cajon has done a lot of things in the name of eliminating or changing homelessness. We have the El Cajon Transitional Living Center. which has converted over 1,000 people in the last 10 years from homelessness to productive citizens. So we've done more in El Cajon than most cities in San Diego County. So thank you for coming today, though.
Thank you for your attention.
Did you want to make a comment?
I do. I have a comment. We are.
You can relax and sit down if you'd like.
If you can sit down. We are involved in this. You're going to hear some good news later in this meeting about what El Cajon has been able to do to place people in housing. But let me give you a situation which I think is indicative of the challenges. I'll call her name Mary. I don't know her real name, but she lived on Walter Way behind Jack in the Box on 2nd Street, and she had many belongings with her. And the police went out there with a social worker in a goodwill call, and they realized that Mary needed medical help right away. She had medical conditions. Mary was in the hospital for 2 weeks, and then after 2 weeks, social workers were able to convince Mary to go into a nursing home. This is all at no cost to Mary. Mm-hmm. Mary was in the nursing home for 4 weeks, and then she walked out, and she's back in the very same place on Walter Way. Mary has the freedom in the United States to make that decision. That's how, in a sense, it's one of the frustrations that clearly Mary needs some help, but our hands are tied in some cases. We keep trying. In the meantime, we keep doing things like picking up trash. There's community groups that have started to pick up trash. In the past 3 Saturdays, they've picked up 951 pounds of trash in El Cajon. A huge amount of trash. I participated on the first Saturday. I know that weight because the good people at Waste Management weigh our trucks on the way in and they weigh our truck on the way out. So we know how much it weighs. I've bagged up, you know what, double bagged it, gagged on it. It's out there. We know it. We experience it. We see it. We're trying.
Well, if I can help in any way, please let me know.
I wanted to tell you that this council has been very active in attempting to solve the homeless problem. The city of El Cajon spends more money on housing for the homeless and other programs for the homeless than all the other East County cities combined. We created the homeless task force a while back. In the first 6 months, we got 60 homeless people off the streets and into permanent housing. In the last 16 years, through East County Transitional Living Center and other places, we had about 5,000 people go into emergency housing. And it seems like we still have a steady stream coming into the city. So we really do care about this issue. And if anybody has any ideas, let us know, because it's a big deal to us. We're really trying hard to make this a better place. And thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And Eric, can you stand up for a second? And this is Eric Lund. He runs the task force, the homeless task force. And if you would like to talk more about ways that which you can get involved with the task force, I'm sure he'd be willing to talk to you. And the more people involved, the better.
Mark Lane.
Hey, Mr. Lane. Welcome.
Mayor Wells, how you doing? Council?
I'm good.
I haven't been here for a while. We've been pretty busy in National City.
I heard that.
Wanted to say congratulations to Mr. Mitchell for moving up. We miss you immensely in Lemon Grove still. I came here originally to address that empty seat right there, which is empty even when it's full. But then I just heard some of the comments you guys just made. So I hope you misspoke when you said if I had a button we could get rid of the homeless and meant to say homelessness. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I hope that's what you actually meant to say.
Absolutely. What I meant was the problem.
Thank you.
The problem, which is a problem for the people that are experiencing it as well.
Right. Mr. McClellan, as someone who works with the homeless and has for many years, a lot of what you just said was rhetoric. California's a magnet for the homeless because of weather. Because it's not New York in the winter, it's not Chicago in the winter. Most of the people on welfare actually are employed. Most of them work for companies like Walmart, Target, Amazon. So you misspoke there as well. It's a shame that you would say things like that. Homelessness right now is at an epidemic level because of housing shortages and housing crises and housing prices and rent prices and lack of rentals. Homelessness is at a record level because of opiate addiction, which the majority of starts with doctors and big pharma over prescribing opiates. So I'd hope you reconsider your thought process. Mr. Goebbels, nice to see you. I don't know if you're aware of how far we've gone with the conversation we had with Pastor Slade, but we're pretty close to presenting a option to y'all about making a small prototype mini home community on his property at Meridian Baptist Church. We're working with Amicas on that right now, so we're pretty close to presenting that to you guys, so you can have it, to think about. Back to Mr. Kalasho. I'm asking you guys, I apologize to you guys for us Democrats giving you Mr. Kalasho, and I want to repeat that apology because after 40 years, that's all we could give you of not having a Democrat. You're Republicans, I'm a Democrat. Doesn't mean you're bad people, doesn't mean we're bad people. I do want to give some props to Mr. Kalasho. He's created bipartisan support to get rid of him. So there's that. I'd love for you guys to consider passing a resolution to censure him. That's all you guys can really do. You can't kick him off. We can kick him off. I promised you, Mayor Wells, if he ran against you, I would support you, and I was sincere. He's decided to run against Mr. Kendrick. Mr. Kendrick, you have my full support to make sure he's not on council. You have my unequivocal, unapologetic, and no strings attached endorsement as well. Call on me. I'll phone bank for you. I'll walk for you. I'll raise money for you, whatever it takes to get that vile human being out of public office. Okay? You guys are Republicans. You're not vile human beings. I appreciate that you guys go about things trying to do what you think is best. He goes about things trying to do what he thinks is best for him. I filed a lawsuit against him for blocking me on Facebook, which is against the rules when you're a public official using your Facebook for public stuff. He's dodged getting served. He was going to get served right now. He dodged it again, but he's going to get served. Again, I'm serious and I'm sincere, Mr. Kendrick. I believe that you're a good human being. I have someone I trust immensely who's told me how good you are. You have whatever help you need from me. Thank you.
James Elia.
Hi, James. Welcome.
Oh,
We're making some history today. You're going to continue?
Yeah, definitely. Good to see you all, council members. Real quick, Mr. McClellan, if you want to help battle some of those liberal welfare queens, join me in boycotting Walmart, who 65% of their employees are on public assistance because they pay starvation wages. So I think they're worse off than people collecting food stamp because they're underpaid. But that's just one example of how ideologically a proud Democrat can disagree with you guys but still have a lot of admiration and respect for the fact that you guys are all leaders in our community. I do indeed have admiration, and I hope to serve on the community level myself at a higher level. Lord knows I've made a lot of mistakes in my days. I'm a firm believer in redemption. I didn't come here today to blast Mr. Kalasho. I didn't come here today to call him out. I came here today to plead with them to get some help because I really feel like something's wrong with them. I realize in order to be a public official or a public servant, you have to have compassion. And I came here with that attitude until I went to his Facebook about 20 minutes ago, and I saw him upload a picture that said, these politicians out here playing checkers while I'm playing chess. This ain't a game. This isn't about checkers. This isn't about Republicans versus Democrats. It's about all these people. And more importantly, it's about the people that are out on the streets. I can tell you right now, looking to serve at a higher level, I've gone to this community. I've hit a ton of houses out in El Cajon. And the three biggest topics are homelessness, affordable housing, and Ben Kalasho. Therefore, I have kept a little silent on him in the last 7-8 months because there are some people I dearly care about that still do support him and like him. But seeing the fact that the 4 women that he viciously had gone after, the business owner he had viciously gone after, the judge has indeed received all of it as fact. I can't stay quiet about it. I publicly have to say this isn't what my party stands for. It's not what I stand for. And again, it's not about ideological politics. It's about saying the right thing. I still do call for Ben to get some sort of help. I think every human being can be salvageable, but at this moment of time, I don't think he's fit to serve. On a side note, we just found out he's been on probation for 3 years, and that was never ever disclosed anywhere. I mean, is it even legal to run for office if you're on probation? I think that's something that the city attorney should definitely look into. And like I said, I care deeply about my community. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings by being up here and speaking out against somebody who people do support, but I support the people who have been affected and will be affected in the future if we don't stand up and do something now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, James.
Maisha Williams.
Hi, Ms. Williams. Welcome.
Well, my name is Maisha Williams. I'm actually president of the East County chapter of the San Diego Progressive Democratic Club. I came just to say Ben Cajon is a sexual predator. There's no way we can support such a man. He's been found guilty, and we are here to hold him accountable as an elected official. It shows the true nature of a man when he does not show up because he knows we, the people, will be here to hold him accountable and confront him today. We want him to know, and the rest of the council to know, that this is unacceptable. That's what I came to say, but also I want to touch on homelessness. There's a mental illness problem also. When you are dealing with a mental illness, it's difficult to work. It's difficult to work. It's difficult to find housing. So that is also an issue that does need to be addressed when you're talking homelessness. I personally work a full-time job, and if it wasn't for the fact that I am renting a studio from a friend of my parents, I would also be homeless with my daughter. So no, people are trying and are in a bad position because we can't afford anything even with our full-time jobs. Also, I wanted to say, Mr. McKellen, you were speaking about the bus. I know you don't feel it a priority, but there are a lot of people who rely on public transportation. And the idea that Sandag is actually building that corridor bus from South County on up to the what they call the working centers is really important, because I have friends who are looking for jobs and can't find them because they don't have a car, can't get a car without money, can't get a job without money. So until they can make their money to get a car, they are relying on public transportation. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you guys very much. You have a great evening.
Thanks for coming. Hold on. Paul, did you want to comment?
I didn't say that public transportation wasn't needed. It was that they were spending a predominant amount of money on public transportation rather than where people are using transportation is in their cars. Public transportation is very important because, like I said before, people that can't afford a car or people that can't drive because of their age, they need public transportation. That's why we have it available. But I'm not against it. I'm just say that there's a predominant amount of money that's spent on could be spent on other things that would help people move around a lot easier in San Diego County.
Okay,
and,
I'm sorry.
Now Chicago and New York and places like that, to where public transportation has been there for the last 80 years or so, it works very well because they're compact cities.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been back to those cities, and it works very well. I've used it. Like in London, too, it works very well.
Well,
So-
I think we can get it to work well here, too. It just
well,
going to take money.
I think it does work well, but we need to watch how much where we spend our money and how much we spend, what we spend it on. And I admire you for working and staying out of the street, and I admire that because people can do that in a lot of cases. They can find something that will keep them off the street, but a lot of people don't want to.
Well, there's always people who try and just aren't succeeding.
Yeah.
So I don't want to, I feel that sometimes people get dismissed as wanting to be homeless, which is what I believe one of you actually said. There are people who are trying. And like I said, personally, I don't want to be homeless. I just can't afford to live anywhere else. And if it wasn't for the kindness of friends, I would be. So to look at that and say, if I end up homeless, it's what I want to do. No, I don't think anybody really wants it. But there are a lot of issues built into it, including affordability, mental illness, drug, being addicted. So I know it's a major problem that needs to be addressed on a whole lot of issues. That's what I'm saying.
And we are doing a lot in El Cajon for the people that really want to get off the street.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of programs for that. But there's a lot of them that don't want to make the effort.
And I think that's where mental illness comes in. If somebody is mentally okay, they don't want to be homeless. It's the way I see it.
Well, I hope Washington and Sacramento is watching, because this is the most civil, bipartisan discussion I've seen in the country
Hey, we're
ever.
all adults here.
So-
This is what we do.
Nicely done. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted you to know that the homeless issue is so important to me. I have 2 graduates from the East County Transitional Living Center living at my house.
Oh, nice.
I've had people living there for two and a half years, and they've worked out really, really well.
Mm-hmm. Again, when people get help that they need, they can usually succeed. So,
Well, thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, who's next?
We have received a few more cards, so we have 9 speakers left. And
Okay.
the next one is Eric Lund.
Mr. Lund. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council members and staff. My name is Eric Lund, and I am the president of the San Diego East County Chamber, which represents the fine city of El Cajon. And it's interesting, I was reflecting that our chamber has been here for over 100 years, so it's a very long time, representing the city of El Cajon. I just wanted to mention a couple of things. Regarding the East County Homeless Task Force, we want to really thank you for your support for the past year and a half. I mean, you guys have done some great things, some very innovative things, including the reunification program with the Salvation Army, helping with housing, assisting us with housing navigators, assisting us with anti-panhandling signage, because that's really important for our business community, and a lot of other things that we're working on and engaged in. And I have to say that the city of El Cajon has been the leader in the entire region when it comes to trying to deal with homelessness. That said, I put a challenge out to Lemon Grove, to the city of Santee, to the city of La Mesa, thank you, and the county of San Diego. They need to do more of their part of it too. And they are doing some things, but I'm going to be going to those city councils and really starting to hit them a little harder about some things, some ways that they can help us. One of the issues that we have is we have about 100 veterans on the streets. And we've got the funding to house them. We just need to find the places to put them into. Not only to house them, but also with guarantees of, securities against damage and things like that. That would get 100 people off the streets. That's a lot of people. And so anything you guys can do to help us with our property managers, we'll be talking to them and bringing everybody together. I think our property managers are the key. And if we can find those rentals, those places, we need to get people into housing. That's the first step, I think. And yes, they need services. They need other things. And they can get that. We have all of that available here. It's just a matter of taking those steps and addressing the issue that way. I wanted to also mention that I'm going to be bringing some businesses in just to present to you their story, because I think it's interesting and it's important for you to hear it. We have, for example, Scuba Pro, which is over off Fanuel, right next to the Parkway Bowling Alley. They have over 40 employees, most all that live right here in East County and in El Cajon. They are considering moving because of the homeless issue. So it's a big issue, and it's really important not only for the business community, but for the entire community. And I think the best thing that we can do is get the whole community to work together to help solve the problem. And towards that, I'd like to invite anybody who is interested in dealing with this homeless issue. And it doesn't matter if you're just a citizen, or you're a business, or you're a service provider, or a council member or representative. On August 22nd, we're having our next general meeting. It'll be at our Lady of Perpetual Help in Lakeside. So we're doing the whole region. And 9 a.m. So I would like to invite anybody who would like to attend to please come to that meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
and by the
Eric.
way, we have over 300 volunteers right now. So that sounds like a lot, but this is a huge issue, and it's a big region, and we need more help. So
You're doing a good job with this, Eric. Thanks.
Thank you. And by the way, welcome to Vince as new city manager. Thank you.
Bonnie Price.
Hi, Bonnie. Welcome.
I'm here really in support of the residents at Villanueva. They have come here meeting after meeting talking about their problems of having to pay rent that escalates annually at 5%, compounded. They're trying desperately to prevent themselves from becoming homeless. They're using the one option available to them through the city to get some mitigation on their issue, and I did not have time to talk to them today to see where they were on that, but I do hope that Jim is going to speak, so he'll be able to bring you up to date. I have in the past brought forward the idea of having you just take the ordinance that Santee has and put a cap on the rents in the manufactured home parks. And so far, the only one who's commented on that is Mr. McClellan, who said it's really too costly because Santee had a couple of years of litigation and a lot of expense over this. So people who are in their senior years, especially women who didn't make much money when they were younger because we had ads for women jobs and men jobs, and no women jobs ever got paid as much as men jobs. These people in the mobile home park need to have better relief, and there has to be a political will to do it. And I'm very concerned because I have read some of the documentation about where campaign funds come from. And we have had some on the council and the mayor taking money from those who own the parks. And that says to me that money means more than people's lives and saving their homes. So I hope that you will think more about the residents than who is paying for your campaign funds. Thank you.
Jim Sirigliano.
Hi, sir. Welcome.
Mayor, councilman, staff, excuse me. Thank you, Bonnie. Just real quickly, while we're on that issue about seniors in mobile home parks in general, I must say that Councilman Colascio has been very supportive of us because we have a monumental task here going on. It's been going on for decades. And this has to change. A lot of the people here aren't familiar with, the mobile home residency laws and things like that there. But I won't say too much more about that. But Mr. Colascio has been supportive. He's come to our meetings, and he's coming to meetings in the future also. And he's the only one who has volunteered. Now, real quick about the update to our rent mediation. We are in the process. Matter of fact, this Friday at 9 a.m., we will have a pre-mediation conference call with the mediator. Okay, this all comes through Fresno, the American Arbitration Association. And it's just going to set up the rules. Each side will present what their concerns are, dates, times for the actual mediation. And that'll happen this Friday at 9 a.m. We will have a conference call. So just update that. And then real quickly about contributions again. And I would welcome any, input about this here, about, again, putting the Form 700 and Forms 460 on the city's webpage. It would make it a lot easier for the citizens who are going to vote in November, and they'd have a little bit more transparency and access, immediate access. Excuse me. And then again, about Dr. Price, by the way, in case anyone doesn't know, that's Dr. Bonnie Price. And she always ends a lot of her communications with a quote that really means a lot to me. And it says, the stakes are too high for government to be a spectator sport. And that's contributed to the Honorable Barbara Jordan. And I don't know how many people know who she is, but you can Google it. And she was a wonderful person and a woman. And that's everyone's responsibility when I say spectator sport. Okay? And then again, I would like to just end by saying seniors vote. And we will be out there because the seniors in the mobile home manufactured parks, we have a monumental task in front of us. It isn't easy. And we need this commitment, a true political commitment, not only here with the city of El Cajon, but all around. It's very, very difficult for us to do what we're doing. However, the mediation's going to happen. And that's, as far as I know, it's never been done in the city of El Cajon yet. So we are progressing slowly, still a lot of questions ahead of us. But I would welcome any questions, again, like I said, where it's about the Form 700 or 460 or any of the things that I've discussed.
All right. Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Brenda Hammond.
Hi, Brenda. Welcome.
Ami Wawa. Hi, Graham. Mr. Mitchell. Yeah, we miss you in Lemon Grove. Ami Wawa is a Gypsy King song. It's not casting a spell or anything. It's like the F word, fun. Fun. However, Ami Wawa is different from the F word as it can't be turned into the F-bomb, which may or not be a good thing these days. Anger is a normal human reaction to harassment. When people are being used to make other people angry to get them in trouble, it's total harassment, especially when they use our homeless people. Since I guess we're talking about item 17 already. It's the new trend, right? There are plenty of programs for drug and alcohol problems. So angering people on the purpose to create anger management programs that don't work. It's county-created jobs that are ridiculous. It's a waste of our taxpayers' money. Because most people will become angry enough to get physically violent and sometimes harm, even kill people. So if any of you get the F-bomb dropped on you, especially if you're purposely messing with someone, be glad. Be glad that that person doesn't have a gun or a knife and you don't get hurt. Because what some of these county, and I'll say some of the county people do, so they can have a county job to manage angry people, is ridiculous. It's causing problems. And the churches, there's churches out there that do the same thing. I said it before to you guys. Mess with people, and then tell them they have to pray more. That is not a church or a religion. And it's these little pop-up ones that are popping up all over. And as far as, if you want to talk about liberal, democratic women, I have been physically assaulted 5 times in this county by liberal, democratic women and never contacted by a sheriff's detective. Why? Well, I'm not going to get into the issue, this color right here. Thank you.
We have 4 more speakers, and Killian Collin.
Hello. Hello. Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm dressing up like a handmaid from the Handmaid's Tale show, Mike Pence's favorite show. And I'm pretty sure I'm in some dress violation, but unfortunately Ben Kalasho is not here to correct me. So I've been activist long time ago, but I became more activist since Mr. President started running for office, and he made this sexist remark against women, and obviously he's also a sexual predator. But before I call out the guy from the other party, I should call out the guy that he ran on my party ticket. And I know you have only so much power to condemn him, but at least censure him, or at least make a statement that Ben Kalasho does not represent the city of El Cajon. He absolutely does not represent me as a resident of this city. He does not represent me as a Middle Eastern. He does not represent me as a person who vote Democrat. Ben Kalasho only represents Ben Kalasho, the sexual predator who is on probation right now. So I disagree with almost every one of you here. I believe I yelled off some of you before in some protest. But I'm asking you today to censure Mr. Kalasho because he is getting paid by my tax money, and I hate seeing a sexual predator getting paid by me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lynn Macklin.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you. My name's Lynn, and I am a citizen of El Cajon, and I vote. And I was not living in El Cajon when Mr. Kalasho was elected. But as a citizen of El Cajon and an officer in the San Diego Progressive Democrats East Chapter, I'm here to ask Ben Kalasho to kindly resign. As a progressive Democrat, we are committed to holding our elected officials accountable, and we clean our own house. If 2016 taught us anything, we learned that voters are tired of voting for the best of the worst, and we're tired of the same old thing. He has continuously put his own wants over the needs of the citizens of El Cajon. He's even his own self-serving behavior has actually put the, at one time, put the very club who sponsored him and endorsed him, put them in jeopardy of losing their charter because of his behavior. Whether it's workers' comp fraud, lying about being on probation when you're running for office, sexual harassment, posting embarrassing pictures of people that he just doesn't agree with, sicking his dog on a local reporter, and bullying members of the local press. Those are not democratic values, and they are not part of our platform. And I want him out of office, and I want him out of my party, because he does not represent me, and he does not represent the people of the city. I'm really proud of a lot of things that El Cajon has done. We've resettled a whole bunch of refugees, more than any other county in the country, and I'm really proud of that. But his behavior has embarrassed us enough. Every week it's something new, you know, and it's got to stop. We voted him in. Well, I didn't live here then. We voted him in, and we'll vote him out come November. But how many more weeks are we going to go on with every speaker coming up here and talking about getting rid of him? You know, I would rather have a Republican than have a slimy Democrat. And he's just, he's got to go. Welcome to our city. I want to touch quickly on the homelessness issue. I heard somebody say that people choose to be homeless. I'm an intelligent person. I have a degree. I have an education. At one time, I made 6 figures, and through a series of life events, I am now renting an apartment. We came very, very close to becoming homeless this past month. And if it wasn't for the help of my friends, we could have very well been. We continue to punish people who have the least amount of financial ability to pay. The late fee at my apartment complex is now 10% of your rent. Instead of being a $50 late fee, it's $165 if you don't pay by the 5th. We have plenty of buildings that are sitting open. Nobody wants to be homeless. We need to help these people. We need to create more behavioral health places where people can go if they're mentally ill and get back on medication, get back on the right track. Nobody wants to live on the streets. The other day I saw a woman sleeping in the grass near Walmart, and she was like 8 months pregnant. Last month, I was at the library in El Cajon, and I saw one woman being led by another woman because she was blind and she was homeless. Can you imagine how terrifying that is? I know she didn't choose to be there. I don't know. It's really disheartening when I hear our elected officials speak about eradicating the problem of homelessness rather than helping the citizens of this city to achieve their own self-worth. You know, it's a different mindset, a different way of looking at it, and so I needed to speak to that too. So thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Gary Woods.
Gary, welcome.
Hello, Mr. Mayor.
Dr. Gary Woods is also a member of the Grosse Pointe Union High School Board.
Yes, as board members, as private citizens, we are very concerned about what is going on. It's ironic, though, how Ben is bringing our community together so we can discuss other serious issues. You know, holding a public office is both a privilege and a trust. And before serving on the school board, long before that, I was teaching U.S. government. And right now, it's embarrassing to realize that our high school students are following this. And when they come back into class the next few days in the government classes, this is going to be an issue of discussion. That impressionable kids see this. And whether we're Democrats or Republicans or independents or anything else, we can all agree that when an elected official, a person that has power, disrespects women, is involved in sexual harassment, from what the judge is saying, from what I'm hearing, that is sending the wrong message. It is sending a bad message to young women and young men. And we, as elected officials, must hold ourselves to a higher standard. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
We have 3 more speakers, and the next one is Tony Sotile.
Hi, Tony. Welcome.
Well, thank you.
Tony's a member of our Planning Commission.
Yes, but I'm representing myself here this afternoon. I believe Ben Calascio is watching this meeting right now on the internet. I think he is present with us, and he's seeing who his friends are and who his enemies are. So, I've addressed Ben here many times before, and the last time that I was here, I told him that repentance is a gift from God, and that I prayed that he would receive that gift. And I don't think he has received that gift thus far. I want to reiterate what Jim Kelly said. I agree with everything that has been said. And he is a blight to the community. Ben is well-versed in dividing people. And I believe he believes that when you divide people, you can conquer them. And I think he's good in doing that. He's good in using the social media to accomplish his goals. And the interests of the city is And that's something that he wants to improve. He's using the citizens of El Cajon to accomplish his own personal goals, which is attaining a position, attaining power. And I know that he has helped some people, but even people who are evil help some people who would, they feel in return would help them as well. So I want to reiterate that Ben Calascio needs to be censured. And I pray that if he's not censured by the next election cycle, that he would not be elected. Additionally, regarding the homeless, I've known some people who have been homeless and who are not homeless. And now there are those people who want to receive help, and there are those who do not want to receive help. And I've met both of them. The ones that want to receive help, they can be helped. But those that don't want to receive help, maybe receive temporary help, like Mary described, she went back out on the street. Really, you can't do anything with them at all because they don't want to be helped. And I have a friend that works in a sharp mental community. She works with people who are in those situations. And she told me that there's not a single person that she works with that has mental issues that was not abusing drugs. All of them that she knows of were abusing drugs at one time or another. So there is a direct correlation, not necessarily so in every situation, but there is a drug abuse and mental issues, a direct correlation. And my recommendation is watch what the cities have done throughout California, throughout the United States. The cities which have had a homeless problem, and the homeless problem has not been helped. As a matter of fact, it's gotten worse. Do the opposite of what they have done. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Oh.
Rebecca Rude.
Hey, Rebecca, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us all here today. And this is my first time coming to the meeting. I've lived here in El Cajon for 20 years. I came today to speak to Ben, but of course he's not here today, partially because he probably knew this was going to happen. As a mother, I am a business owner. I own San Diego Realty Gals, so homeless issue is a whole other issue since I am a realtor. So Eric Lund does an amazing job. I've gone to some of his meetings, and PSAR has worked with him, which is it's like I said, you can't help everybody, but they're doing their best to help those that they can't help. So I appreciate that. With Ben, I also have a 19-year-old daughter, and when you Google someone, and you don't even Google bad, you just Google someone's name and nothing but filth comes. It's unfortunate that he's representing our city. So I know we can't, as people, we can maybe make, it's almost done, but the damage is done, and I would hate to see any more damage done. And I know it's unfortunate, but I really hope that he's watching and he understands that it's not appreciated, but you can't change him. You can't change a narcissist. He is what he is. It's not going to change, but I'm just glad that it's almost over, and I hope that we can do what we can to do damage control, because you've done a lot to the city, a lot of great things, and I appreciate everything that has been done to thus far. And there was so much more I can say, but since he's not here to hear it, I will just leave it at that, because I'm sure there's plenty that has been said thus far. So, and regarding the homeless issue, just really quick on a side note, because I do live here on Travelodge, and I've spent $10,000 so far in the past year and a half on my vehicle due to my car being stolen. Well, attempt, they couldn't steal it, and breaking it and sleeping in it. I was hit by a person who lived in their car and drove down the street under the influence and took out the whole side of my car. So it is an issue, and on Travelodge it is a big issue where they sleep in their cars, and I know they need a place to stay, and I understand that, but Travelodge is a street where they sleep at night in their cars, and it's fine if they stay in their cars, but one of my residents at the complex, he was gone for 2 weeks and came home to find his car broken into, and they were sleeping in his car. So it's a problem, and I know it's a problem, and I know that they're doing their best to try to fix it, but you can't fix it. They have to want the change, and until they realize that, it's not going to change. So, but it is a great place to live, and that's probably why they're here. So, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Last speaker, Humbert Cabrera.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Humbert, welcome.
Welcome. I was content sitting there, but then I had a few things I had to say. There are many citizens here that are fantastic people from both sides of the aisle, and I would invite them to come to the East County Homeless Task Force. We've been working on this for almost 3.5 years. I know it's only been formalized for about 1.5 years, but Eric's been working on this even before it was formalized. There is over almost 200 different private entities that give to the East County Homeless Task Force. There's 26 different non-for-profit organizations working together. And El Cajon is, like some of my colleagues here and fellow citizens said, is the shining hill. It's the shining city on the hill. Everybody is looking at El Cajon saying, how the heck are they doing it? You are doing a great job by doing a public-private partnership, as opposed to other cities, and I've gone to the other cities, and I've actually attended their homeless task force as well, and they're attempting that the government's going to do the entire solution. The government can't do the entire solution. As Mayor Wells noted, we have a 35% increase in the last 3 years. Well, the city of San Diego, attempting to do it all themselves, has a 125% increase. San Francisco, attempting the government solution for everything, is at a 300% increase. So El Cajon is actually doing pretty doggone good, and everybody else should be looking at it. And I invite all these other citizens, come and be part of the solution. Don't try to make the solution yourself. There's an entire group of people and nonprofit organizations working together conjunctively. We have some people going, I'm actually a board member of Salvation Army, CASA Group, Citizens Against Substance Abuse, all these other groups. We're actually going to these citizens, to these homeless people, tracking them, finding who they are, finding the right places for them. There's some groups that just register them, other groups that find places for them, other places that will reunite them to other places in the United States and pay for their ticket and take them there and do everything else. It's a fantastic organization, and I would encourage everybody else that may be a little bit critical, come and see what's going on first. You're going to be really happy and be part of the solution. The other thing is I would just tag on the situation with Councilman Calascio. There was an election a few years ago, and I was part of it, and there were many, many people that knew what was happening. So a lot of these people that are thinking, well, I didn't know what was going on. They knew what was going on. But as somebody said, look, we can't spend a lot of time on this. We're a great city. We have a lot of things to do. So if we can create a hotline for the women so that they can call, we can create a hotline for the businesses so they can call, a place where they can go and seek refuge. I think that would be a great first step for the council, and I think also the sanctions or whatever you're going to do for that the city council can do sanctions-wise would be where you could go and start, and then we could just move on.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay. Council, you want to plow through and finish up, or do you need a break? Okay. I'm getting the high sign to plow through. All right, there are no written communications, no public hearings on today's agenda. Item 15 is an update on Squad 6 performance. And staff, would you please tell us about this? Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks for coming today.
My pleasure. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Mayor, City Council, Mr. Mitchell, City staff, I am excited today to speak with you about the 6-month performance update for Squad 6. I'll try to be brief. Before I get too far into the performance, the results, I thought it would be helpful to spend a couple minutes discussing the conditions that led to us considering this alternate service delivery model. Like most municipal agencies, we have seen a dramatic increase in our call volume, averaging 6% a year for several years. The clear majorities are medical aid calls. So Squad 6 is an alternative model to deliver service for this ever-increasing number of medical aid calls. It's important to remember what it's intended to do and not to do. We have found that with our call triaging and our partnership with American Medical Response, we're able to deliver a call with a paramedic ambulance only to a certain number of patients, our lowest acuity patients. At the other end of the scale are higher acuity patients, and for those patients, we're delivering ALS care with a paramedic engine as well as a truck company. But the thought was, well, what if there was some other way, a Goldilocks model, if you will, to deliver service for the interim or the intermediate levels of calls? That was the genesis of the idea for Squad 6. We thought it'd be helpful to provide you this graphic to display what the different vehicles are that I'm discussing. You're probably familiar with Truck 6. You can imagine that's a pretty big vehicle to drive down the street to medical aid calls. Its replacement value is about $1.5 million, so we take responding to that very seriously. Engine 6 is a little bit smaller, a bit different purpose, also a very expensive vehicle to respond to low acuity medical aid calls. The Squad, as you can see there, is simply a modified pickup truck. That costs about $83,000 to get deployed onto city streets. It's staffed a little bit differently with 2 firefighter paramedics. So it doesn't have a fire captain and engineer. It doesn't have all the firefighting or rescue equipment that a truck or an engine would have, but it is specifically tasked with responding to these moderate acuity medical aid calls, as well as supporting the staffing on Truck 6. So the big question, how did it do? I'm happy to report that after a 6-month analysis, comparing it to a 6-month prior period the previous year, we have seen it reduce the number of calls for the truck and for the engine by 50%. When we embark on a project like this in government, sometimes we wonder, gosh, is it really going to work? Are we going to be effective? I don't remember what our office pool was on this, but I can guarantee you it wasn't 50%. So we're very heartened to see this unit use this effectively. That's equated to about 2,000 calls over the 6-month period, or 11 calls per 24-hour shift. So where do we go from here? Well, we'll continue to evaluate its success. I have every reason to believe it'll continue. And we'll also closely monitor its call volume and look for future opportunities to provide service.
Thank you. Excellent report. Any questions?
No, I commend the Heartland Fire El Cajon unit for doing this and cutting the cost for the citizens of El Cajon by not sending these expensive fire trucks out on every call that they have in the past. So it's a great program. I commend you for doing a great job in setting this up as a trial, and hopefully it'll go on for many years to come, and maybe there'll be some improvements even that we can maybe have 2 of these trucks out there in the field. The $83 million or $83,000 kind. So
thank you very much.
You bet.
San Miguel Station 19, I think it is, next to the old Vons on 2nd Street, abandoned their station recently, right? They moved.
Correct. They moved a few miles north, I think towards Bradley.
So to city staff, I would say let's stay ahead of that because there's going to be pressure on Station 8 over on Madison and East Main, more or less. We certainly don't want to see the absence of San Miguel Station 19 for mutual aid to put an undue burden on Station 8. So while we watch Squad 6, we should maybe be thinking about Squad 8. Just encourage city staff to do that analysis ahead of the curve.
Gary, do you have it? Quick question. The results look really great that we've decreased the amount of truck time that was out. How do we do for quality of care for the patients that were being seen?
That's a difficult metric to measure. I can talk to my EMS coordinator and try and see how that changes outcome. I'd have to get back to you on that.
Just so anecdotally, though, did it seem like we decreased our level of service and outcomes for the citizens, or did it stay the same? Or is it just too hard to tell at this point?
I think the trick is to have the advanced ALS units, the fire engine and the ladder truck with more personnel and a greater amount of equipment to be available for the most acute calls. So we can see that with those numbers, the engine and the truck are available more frequently for those patients who are in cardiac arrest or victims of a traffic accident or a violent crime. We're able to get more people with more resources there more quickly when the squad is handling the less acute calls. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Let's finish this real quick. All right, Angela, do you have any speaker cards on this item?
No, sir, no cards.
All right, any further discussion from councilor, or would somebody like to make a motion?
That was just a report, wasn't it? I don't think we have to make a motion, do we?
You're correct, Mr. McClellan. This is to receive a report. There's no need for a motion for this. Thank you.
Okay, great. Before we go on to the next item, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break, and then we'll continue. I know, I think I'm envious of you right now. So
Run it from the
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
No, you can be. I'm up here.
Every time you come to council. Well, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Well, it's good. I'm glad you're here. You stay right to the end. Hey, my campaign how things are. Downtown Cafe at 5. We're coming. I'll be there if I can get out of here. Maybe a few minutes late, but I'll be coming. I have somebody hosting until I get there, so it might be 5:15. You know where the Downtown Cafe is? It's just around the corner there. Right,
a duplicate laptop up there with a video set up. That way they can do the PowerPoint all day long here. And if there is a video, we can run it from up there.
I have another suggestion for you. I recommend you guys get a new microphone. Everybody's struggling with this.
Yeah.
You pull it down and flips back up.
Yeah. Well, everybody's a different height, so that's
yeah, but it's going to be a better setup.
Like when you're 20 feet tall. Yeah.
And I have to pull it down below my chin until it pops up in the right place. It's not a big deal.
Hey, I owe you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get back to work here. If I could have staff come back and. That was on advice of my attorney. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, if we could all take our seats. We've got just a few minutes left to finish up the council meeting. You did look a little lonely down there. You stay in your corner. All right, we're going to go on to item 16. Item 16 is for a tax lien for unpaid staff time and administrative costs. And staff, could you tell us a little bit about what's happening with this?
Hello, Mayor Wells and City Council.
Thanks for coming.
Well, as you've read my report, this is a code enforcement case that took place actually some time ago. We have been pursuing payment of the amount that you see listed here, and I've tried myself numerous times to try and contact Mr. Loper and have been unable to contact him. So this is the direction that we're needing to take at this point, is to have a tax lien placed against the property.
Is he here today?
No, he's not.
Okay. All right, council, any questions or comments? Angela, do we have any speaker cards for this item?
We have no speaker cards, sir.
Sir, I think we're finished, but thank you. I appreciate that. Would somebody like to make a motion then?
Make a motion that we put this as a tax lien, as staff says, on the property recommendation, and for $1,318.95 against the property.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded, please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
All right. Item 17 is an update on the city's homeless strategies. And staff, would you please tell us about this?
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, staff is excited to present a 6-month update regarding some of the strategies that were implemented by the City Council earlier in 2017. A lot of the comments during public comment were apropos to this agenda item. I think a lot of them have left, unfortunately, so they don't get to hear some of the positive things that are happening in the city. Go to the next slide. So as you recall, as a reminder, the council authorized the implementation of several strategies. The Housing Navigator, Housing Assistance Funds, $80,000 worth of them, support for a program called A Way Back Home with the Salvation Army, the city's anti-panhandling campaign, support for the phone app that Mr. Lund spoke about this evening called Connect EC, and then also at the last, about 3 months ago, the City Council asked staff to spend a little bit more time in marketing some of the positive things that we're doing, and also to address some of the messaging that we are using as part of the anti-panhandling campaign. I'll address some of that a little bit from now. Next slide. So when you think of the Housing Navigator program and the Housing Assistance Funds, those really are married together. It's really one program that is managed by the Crisis House. Through our participation, Crisis House has hired Karina Hernandez, who's here tonight, and she is really our housing navigator. She actually works for Crisis House, which serves all of East County, and she does that, but she has a specific mission to focus on El Cajon homeless. And the funding that we've provided for housing assistance is only meant for homeless individuals that are in El Cajon, and we'll talk about that in a second. Since she has been brought on and started operating in December of 2017, so about seven months ago, she has enrolled 71 individuals in the program, which includes 41 households. And through those 71 individuals, 47 of those folks have been housed. They are in permanent housing, not temporary housing, not shelters, but permanent housing, and that equates to 29 households. So it's about 32 adults and 15 children. One of the children that was we found housing for was actually born in homelessness, was living on the streets with her parents as a homeless, never had experienced a house until the Housing Navigator was able to get her into a home. Next slide. The graph I'm showing right now really illustrates sort of the progress that we've had month by month. It shows households of folks put into housing as well as individuals. As you can see, there was a bit of a slow start. Our Housing Navigator was reaching out to many of the homeless individuals, and as we know, it takes several communications, several touches with an individual before they want to receive some assistance. So there was a need to build up some relationships of trust. And frankly, it was one of the first tasks for our Housing Navigator was finding housing for these individuals. So it was developing relationships with landlords and apartment complexes. So that did take a few months, but as you can see, starting in March, there started to be some significant success in the program, and we've been able to have some ongoing success month after month. If we can go to the next slide. One of the goals of the program is not just to put an individual into a home, but is to keep them in a home. And so we've asked Crisis House to measure whether folks that have been housed remain in housing after 6 months and after 12 months. So this program is less than 12 months old, so there's no one that would qualify for having been in a house for 12 months. But we actually have several people that have been housed since the month of December and January. Of those folks, all of them remain in a home, so there's no dropout rate for those individuals. But I do want to report that in May, one of the individuals that was put into a home has since returned to homelessness. The next slide. one of the things that we wanted to do for the city council is to understand whether the significant investment that the council has made has any value, or are we just throwing money into a hole? And so we've done a bit of a cost benefit analysis, and I think it's interesting that if you combine the cost of the Housing Navigator with the cost of the Housing Assistance Program, thus far we've spent about $73,000, a little about half of what we had allocated for over the 7-month period. This is costing an average of about $1,500 per person to get into a home. And if you just take away the Housing Navigator portion and just focus on the Housing Assistance Program, it's less than $850 to get an individual into a home. From a homeless programming standpoint, that's a massive success. That is very low numbers, and it's something that I think that we need to tout regionally, that this program has worked in our community, and it's something that we would like to see other communities participate in as well. What's one of the unexpected outcomes of this program is how much the Navigator's been able to leverage other funds, whether it be other government funds, in some cases just helping them, an individual, allocate their own resources more effectively. So they're using their own Social Security, for example, to get into a home where before they were having a hard time doing that. We've been able to leverage significant amount of money, over $26,000 since the program started. That means for every $1,000 that the city's invested, we have been able to attract $600 back into our community for housing. And if you look at the overall assistance lifetime, our investment is massive. For example, one of our Housing Navigator shared with me, for an investment of about $1,500, she was able to secure $771 per month for the lifetime of this individual for housing. That, if you do the math, assuming the person lives 20 years, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars that a very small investment from El Cajon has been able to leverage. And so I think that's a program that is successful based on that cost and that benefit. If we can go to the next slide. One of the things that we wanted to present or understand is some of the patterns of homelessness, some of the issues of homelessness. We rely on the homeless count done by the regional task force. I think there's some weaknesses in that count. We have an opportunity to collect really good data, and through Crisis House, we've collected data about those that we've housed or enrolled in the program. I wanted to share a little bit of that data with you. In the staff report, I've included the raw data that we have, so you can kind of manipulate it or look at it as you wish and figure out some things. But I just wanted to share a couple nuggets that I thought were important. If you look at the time that people have been homeless compared to their total life experience in their time in El Cajon, the majority of their homelessness has occurred in the city of El Cajon. So the notion that people in, let's say, Michigan, hear about El Cajon having this amazing housing program, they're not coming here for that. These are folks that are currently homeless in El Cajon. Now, how they got here in the first place, that's another story. But we don't think they're coming here for this program. These are really folks that have been homeless in the city. And as you can see, on an average, for over a year, they've been homeless in our community. Next slide. One of the questions that has been asked is, where are they sleeping? Where are they spending their time? Over 50% of the time they're spending it, what I call on the streets, in a park, in a channel, outdoors. And another large percentage in vehicles. We did notice that folks that responded affirmative to these are also periodically finding a friend's house to sleep in, or when they can finagle some funding in a motel. And we also are getting some of our folks directly from the pipeline of ECTLC, that's what it's meant for, shelter, emergency housing. Now we're funneling them from that housing to permanent housing. So this is the goal. Next slide. One of the questions we asked is, where was your residence or your last permanent home? And what's interesting is over 50%, over half, have been their last residence was in El Cajon. And 93% of them, their last residence was somewhere in San Diego County, and most of them from East County, unincorporated East County. The one individual or the family that was from out of state, they're from Arizona. They were actually living in El Cajon. They moved to Arizona temporarily and moved back, but you could almost count them as an El Cajon individual. So our housing navigator really has focused on individuals that I would call our own homeless population. The last slide, we did ask some questions about substance abuse. Of the households that have found housing, 17% of them have self-reported some level of substance abuse. Those enrolled, so those that are not yet housed, it's a 33% rate of substance abuse. There's a correlation there. Those that are not using drugs or have alcohol addiction, it's easier for them to find housing. And in fact, I ran some data. If you look at the household income for those that report substance abuse versus those that don't report substance abuse, and this is a message to kids, if you want to make more money, you should probably not abuse drugs, because there is a direct correlation between income and substance abuse usage or substance usage. So it certainly is easier for a housing navigator to work with individuals that do not have addiction issues. And that's one of the reasons for the success of the program. The problem, though, and we heard this earlier today, is in El Cajon, if you want to find housing and you have even a minor amount of income, our housing navigator can find you housing. But we have a large percentage of our population, of our homeless population, that do not have income and are in a position, whether it be mental illness or drug addiction, that finding them housing at this time is virtually impossible until we have additional partners. And those partners include really the County of San Diego assisting with the mental health issues that we're dealing with. We can go to the next slide. One of the other programs that the City Council funded up to $10,000 worth was the Salvation Army's relocation program, or a Way Back Home program, which really is a program to reunite individuals that are homeless in El Cajon with family members or friends that are outside the area. And this is not one of those programs where we buy someone a bus ticket to somewhere and we hope they land in a safe place. There's a lot of counseling that happens before the reunification, not only counseling with the individual that is being sent home, but also with the folks that are at home to make sure that they have the wherewithal to take them in and to give them the support. In fact, there's some individuals that have not had that support at home, and we've not reunited those individuals because we want the program to be successful. So far, we've spent an average of a little under $350 per person to reunite them with a family member. From a cost perspective, this is phenomenal. Every city in the County of San Diego should be doing this program and participating in this program. Again, one of the success rates are these individuals still in a home. Of the 13 that have been reunited with family members, one of them we know is homeless again. 2 are currently out of communication, so we can't verify whether they are homeless or not, but 10 of them are still in home. So that's over 75%, or about 75% of the individuals that have participated in this program remain in a home. Next slide. One of the other things that the council authorized us to do and then later tweaked a little bit was the installation of anti-panhandling signs at key intersections. As we've talked about in the past, these signs are not meant to prohibit or to ban panhandling. They're actually to encourage would-be donors to give to a more effective means where someone can get better help than they can if they're given $1 on a street corner. One of the other messages, so at the last meeting 3 months ago, there was some discussion about the size of the signs. So we increased the signs from 12 by 18 to 18 by 24 inch signs. This image shows how those signs look compared to in size difference. And we also added some messaging for those that are homeless and are looking for assistance, and we've given them a way to connect through the Connect EC app with that text number. We've spent about $2,500 on this program. We've replaced about 20 of the signs due to vandalism, but since the big sign has been installed, we've only had to replace one large sign. So we think that's a success, and we hope that that continues to be a trend. Next slide. One of the other programs the last program that I'll talk about, the city helped fund, was helping the launch of the Connect EC phone app. It was launched earlier in January this year. Through their data they've collected, we know that the app's been accessed a little under 450 times by 268 unique users. From a cost perspective, probably not great. That's $13 per unique user. That's pretty expensive. However, we think that there's an opportunity to further promote this, and this needs to be promoted further. One of the things that the East County Homeless Task Force has done is develop this card. As I've talked to homeless individuals, I found it easier to give somebody something than tell them to pull up an app on their phone. But I think between the card, which you have a copy of on your desk, and the app, I think there's an opportunity to sort of hit both groups of individuals. And this card includes a lot of the information that would be included on the app that you could access. Go to the next slide. So at the last meeting 3 months ago, the council asked us to spend a little bit more time promoting some of the things that we've been doing. So we created a specific website on our city's webpage. It not only describes very briefly what we're doing, it actually has a button. So if you are looking for help, or if you know of someone looking for help, rather than just touting what we're doing, you can click on that link and it can take you to that help directly. So we think it's a marketing piece that not only educates but also is a tool to provide some assistance. And the East County Homeless Task Force has actually created a wonderful resource page that has a lot of information that you can browse through, and it's by category of help that's needed. We think it's a very valuable asset. Again, it's recently launched, and it's something that they're currently promoting. And lastly, we did include the additional signage to the anti-panhandling signage, and we think that's been successful so far. Go to the last slide. So tonight we're just seeking for some feedback from the council of one, whether we're on the right track, if there's some deviation from the course that we need to take. The other thing that the staff report addressed is that we are coming up on our 1 year term with our agreement with Crisis House to administer the Housing Navigator program and the Housing Assistance program. Staff would recommend, based on the success of the program thus far and based on the funding that has been allocated in the budget, that the council directs staff to bring that an agenda item back to renew at least a 1 year agreement with Crisis House for those two programs. Staff's here to answer any questions that you may have. Jamie Van Rastison is in the audience as well. She's been working the slides for me. She's really been managing the contracts with Salvation Army and Crisis House. She has a lot of information about data and about the contracts themselves, so she can answer questions as well.
Nice report, Graham. Thank you very much. Bob?
Yes, on slide number 1 that you had, that shows the number of people that we've helped by month, it shows that there's a little drop-off as of late, even though the weather's gotten very hot in July and August. I'd like to ask Jeannie, you want to step up to the microphone?
We may also want to invite Ms. Hernandez to come up. She knows about the ebbs and flow of how the program works, and she could probably respond to that as well.
Yeah.
Great.
Since there's been a little drop-off, do you feel that the people that have been housed were the ones that really didn't want to be on the street in the first place? And the ones that are the hardcore, the drug users, the mentally ill, some, and then the alcohol addicted, they don't want to go through the turmoil of trying to get off the the street. Do you think that's the ones that wanted to be helped? We've helped a lot of them. Do you think it's getting harder to help people now that you're getting to more of the hardcore population?
So some of what you call the hardcore population have been enrolled. And so with able to house what our goal was, I'm still working on that, but taking a little bit more time for those who do have mental health issues or substance abuse disorder. being able to talk to them more, figure out, is this what you want? Let's see what we can do to help you. Let's a little bit more of the resources. Connecting with our community partners like McAllister, with referring them out to shelters and stuff like that.
How about the military? That I'm very interested in making sure that our military are off the streets. If you had any success in reducing the numbers of those that are on the street?
So, unfortunately, Crisis House no longer is a subcontractor to Volunteers of America. We have recently started to work on a memorandum of understanding with VVSD, Veterans Village of San Diego, to come twice a week to Crisis House to help those who are experiencing homelessness and our vets, to have someone in our office that they can talk to that has gone through the experience. Sometimes with vets, it's a trust of issue if you're non-vet. And so for us to reintroduce the relationship with a veteran partnership, we hope to decrease the amount of veterans that are experiencing homeless here in El Cajon.
Good, thank you. And I might add that Steve Goebel has been a leader in this area, and I hope the people of El Cajon remember that when he's running for re-election on 2020. So he's a great guy, a good friend. We happen to be in the same district, so hopefully he'll take over for me.
Steve? Karina, you're my hero.
Stop it.
I'm trying to understand why people turn you down. When you talk to people on the streets and you talk to them 2 or 3 times, what can we learn why people say no? What's your interpretation?
So for some, not all, it's the amount of dollars that we can able to provide for a household. We do have a limited amount of funding, and a lot of them, when we do what we call the Common Assessment Tool, the Vulnerability Index, the VISPDAT, the Housing and Health Assessment, score in a higher range for permanent supportive housing. And in El Cajon, we have none, and then in the county of San Diego, it's very limited. So, as you know, and Graham know, I have been at a training this week is to kind of reinvent that wheel, to reintroduce the Common Assessment Tool. What does it look like? How will it better serve those who are experiencing homelessness and the providers? But a lot of it is, I haven't worked in X amount of years. My SSI, I don't get a lot of it. I don't get a lot of disability. I'm on disability. I can't work. How do I increase my income?
So it's not necessarily the startup funds, it's their ongoing
Going.
ability is a concern. So,
Yes.
okay. If you had a wish list of things that you could say, boy, I could use this, and I could use this, and I could use this, what are some of the things on that wish list?
We've talked about mental health and the services that a lot of these individuals need, but it's also, I'm one person, so I'm doing the outreach. So an outreach worker, a housing locator, someone that actually takes the dedication of their time to introduce themselves into landlords, going to landlord meetings. And one of the things that the city of San Diego does is a landlord incentive program, which is offering, I think it's $100 to a landlord who houses someone that's gone through a rapid rehousing program. And an additional, I think, $50 for every person that they do. And that's something that has worked. But, as being one person, I wish I could do it all. And I'm trying, but it's hard.
So do you think the issue is a shortage of housing, or you mentioned the income side? Do you have people ready and you just can't find places?
Yes, so that's also an issue. The county of San Diego has a 2% vacancy rate. And we have, what we've learned, over 17,000 people sitting in a homeless management system that some will never be what we call touched.
All right. You've housed 47 when the goal is 25 is fantastic.
Thank you. Yes.
Gary?
Is the lack of a deposit an issue with some of these people? Because usually it's to move in, it's first and last month's rent.
Yes. So that's one of the bigger issues, especially if a person is on Section 8. they have to come up with the deposit on their own. So sometimes it's 2 times the rent. Sometimes it can be up to 2.5 times the rent. And then a lot of the times is, do you make enough income to sustain yourself? So a landlord looks at how much income you have. And it's us like bargaining with them. Yes, they can do it. This is how much money they make. We work on their budget. They can be able to sustain themselves after our subsidy is complete. But it is, a security deposit can run up to $2,600, $3,200.
And probably sometimes they don't have the best of credit, so it's risky for the landlord. Is there any grant money you're aware of that we could go after for deposits, or maybe hold the county's feet to the fire to get them to come up with some money? Because that's kind of their purview.
Well, Mr. Kendrick, that's our funding, our housing funding is being used for that purpose. That housing assistance funding, that's how Ms. Hernandez uses that money, is for that. But if we can explore some grant funding or some alternative funding and leverage additional money, it's always something we're doing. And that's part of the leverage that she's done so far. So if there's been some county money that person's eligible for, then we'll go after that money rather than using our money.
Right, thank you.
Project One for All at the county, has that been helpful to you for maybe you can explain Project One for All?
I cannot explain POFA. And so I've learned, I actually met Megan O'Dowd for the first time yesterday. But she doesn't use the coordinated entry system to have housed. And so for us, we've like county mental health no longer comes to our office. And so for us, it's, let me see if they qualify for what we call Action East, Heartland. And if they are not a high utilizer of either emergency rooms or behavioral health units, it's starting them going to the county mental health office. But for POFA, it's like winning the lottery.
And that's because you're just not getting the match or the assistance or the connection with the county?
Yes.
Oh, we got to fix that. We got to fix that.
Okay, well, great report, great work.
Thank you.
Thanks for all you're doing, and we appreciate you coming up and talking to us about it.
Of course, thank you.
All right. Angela, do we have any speaker cards on this item?
We have one card from Brenda Hammond.
Brenda, you still here? All right, I think that's not going to happen. So.
No more cards.
All right. So, council, any thoughts or something like to make a motion?
Yeah, I think this is a great program. It's a big bang for the buck. It's certainly a lot cheaper to house people and keep them healthy, because if they're living out in the streets, they're probably taking a few trips in our ambulance service, which costs us about $1,000 a trip, and then costs a lot of money when they go into the emergency room. Our taxpayers ended up paying for that too. So I think we should move forward, and I'll make that a motion that we direct the staff to prepare agreements with Crisis House and to extend the Housing Navigator and the housing assistant programs.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
Mr. Mayor, if I could ask a direction from the council also. I think this presentation needs to get out beyond the city limits of El Cajon. I think it's something that the county should be aware of. I think it's something that the regional task force for the homeless in San Diego should be aware of. This is just over the top successful. I don't know that it's going to be in every way, but I'd be glad to go meet with people at the county to draw in those county resources for mental health and to draw in additional things that maybe necessarily we don't have to pay for. The federal government and the state give hundreds of millions of dollars down to the county level for these kind of things that we need help with. And I think we should tell the county we are doing our part. How will you help us? Join with us, partner with us. And so if that's could have the council support to make those kind of comments, I would be glad to do those.
Go get that money, Steve.
Maybe you could get a DVD of tonight's presentation.
We might be able to request either of the county or the regional task force to make this presentation to them. It's very compelling.
Yeah.
There are so many partners involved in this success, from our first responders to social workers to the East County Task Force on the Homeless. The community coordination is just absolutely incredible, phenomenal, very good.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be great if you did that, Steve. Let us know if we could be of any help. All right. You've all been very patient. We're almost done. So a couple small items. Item 18 is a letter I would like to ask the council to consider. It's I'm not going to read all this, so you can read this. Basically, what's happening in Proposition 4, they started a new organization, a government agency that controls how cannabis is sold and used in the state of California. And what they're proposing right now is to circumvent the concept of local control by allowing deliveries to go to any city or any area in California, which basically, like I said, circumvents that completely. The promise of 64 was that they were going to change the laws about marijuana, but the cities that didn't want to participate didn't have to participate, and now it seems to be going around that. And so I'd like to draft a letter saying that we disagree with that concept.
Second, if that's a motion.
That's a motion, then. And moved and second, please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
All right, then. We are on to activities report. My activities report is as written. There's no legislative report to give at this time. And I will go on to Mayor Pro Tem Gary Kendrick.
As reported.
Councilmember Bob McClellan.
As reported, however, I'd like to ask staff to look into this article that was in the Union Tribune about Coronado doing something with these rental bikes and collecting $300 for 94 impounded bikes, and maybe we could follow in some kind of a fashion that way, because I think it's going to get worse, not better.
Agree with you. Mr. Goebel.
As reported, I would like to acknowledge the assistance of city staff on the recent trash pickups by the citizen groups in El Cajon, especially the Recreation Department for providing the tools and the things to pick up trash, and for the town hall which started all that. So thank you to city staff for that.
There are no joint council member reports and no general information items for discussion. There are no first or second readings of ordinances today, and there is no closed session items. So this brings us to the adjournment, the regular joint meeting of the El Cajon City Council, El Cajon Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency, held this 14th day of August 2018, is adjourned till Tuesday, August 14th, 2018 at 7 o'clock p.m. We'll see you all tonight. Thank you.